So if I created the most stable, most secure, most immutable crypto asset network of 21 million blocks, and everybody in the world understood it, they're all going to want a piece of it. There's only 21 million blocks, and a lot of it's been lost, so probably we're down to 16 or 17 million Bitcoin. And the thing about Bitcoin,
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Michael Saylor discuss about Bitcoin and crypto. According to Michael Saylor, right now, Bitcoin is growing on an exponential curve, but it will expand in a serpentine pattern with a quick burst of expansion and some drawdown for the last 3.5 years. The compound annual growth has been 45 or 50% years since we first became involved, and Michael Saylor believe it will only keep growing rapidly between 20 and 40 years old, or between 20 and 50% during the following 1 to 2 decades. And it will progressively increase. The long-term growth will most likely decrease from 45% to 40, 35, 30 to 25 to 20%. Annually reach a terminal growth rate of roughly 15%, and it will take 20 to 25 years for it to reach that growth rate years from now. It will compound or grow twice as quickly as the S&P index or any other high-quality, diversified asset portfolio you could purchase. And lots of things Michael Saylor discuss, so please watch the video to end. And like, share, subscribe our channel, Everyday Finance. Thanks.
I think the right way to think of this is Bitcoin is going to grow in a serpentine pattern with rapid burst of growth, some drawdown, but on an exponential curve. Right now it's like 45 or 50% compounded annual growth in 3.5 years since we got involved. And I think it'll just continue to grow at a high growth rate between 20 and 40 or 20 and 50% for the next 1 to 2 decades. And it'll gradually, the overall long-term growth will probably go from 45% annual to 40 to 35 to 30 to 25 to 20. And it'll hit a terminal growth rate of like 15%. And when it hits that terminal growth rate, maybe 20 years out, maybe 25 years out, it'll be growing twice as fast or compounding twice as fast as the S&P index or any other diversified, high-quality portfolio of assets you could buy. So if you think about it like that, you just say, well, where we are now, we're going to double, we're going to double again, we're going to double again, we're going to double again. Bitcoin's going to continue to progress to $1 million a coin, $2 million a coin, $5 million a coin, $10 million a coin. And when it's $6 million a coin, there's going to be a bunch of people really angry at themselves that they didn't buy it at $1 million a coin. And so I think once you understand it to be the center of the financial universe, right? It's basically the fulcrum around which we all generate leverage. It is the frame of reference of all value and scarcity. Once you get that idea, then the logical thing to do is just to continue to sweep your cash flows into it from month to month to quarter to year to year. You could call that dollar cost averaging, or you could just call it, savings. But, there's no end in sight. I mean, if I told you could buy Bitcoin at 100,000 and it was going to go to 6 million and you were going to get 60x your money, then why wouldn't you?
According to Michael Saylor, if Michael were to give you $10 million and you were an African with an option to purchase $10 million worth of property in Zimbabwe for $10, what would you do? $10 million can be used to purchase anything in the entire nation. Or would you want to purchase Bitcoin? $10 million worth of it now that you are aware of the property in Zimbabwe. Perhaps it's rare, but it might not be transportable, and you might not want to live there yet. It's possible that the wealthy in 100 years won't want to go there. Therefore, it's unclear if you'll be able to sell, mortgage, rent, or carry it with you. But on the Bitcoin, however, is key. Bitcoin can be compared to Manhattan, and in cyberspace, there are 21 million city blocks, and eventually 8 billion people will wish to go there, as there are 8 billion people on the planet. Everyone aspires to prosperity and wants to preserve their money. Nobody is against social security and financial security. People will demand the money for a millennium, starting now and lasting until the end of eternity. Let's back to the Michael Saylor interview.
So if I created the most stable, most secure, most immutable crypto asset network of 21 million blocks, and everybody in the world understood it, they're all going to want a piece of it. There's only 21 million blocks, and a lot of it's been lost. So we're down to 16 or 17 million Bitcoin. And the thing about Bitcoin, which is better than property, is A, it's scarce, but B, it keeps getting more scarce. When people lose their keys, there's less Bitcoin, not more. And it's mobile, and it's portable, and it's fungible. And it passes what I call the Bernard Arnault test, which is if you want to make a good investment, you should buy something scarce and desirable that someone richer than you and more cultured than you and smarter than you will want to buy from you in a decade. And that's what I think of when I think of Bernard Arnault, someone richer than me and more cultured than me, and I wonder, would he want to buy this thing? And clearly, $10 million worth of hotel space in Zimbabwe probably may not be that appealing. And you never know with real estate whether the person you want to sell it to is going to want to buy it. And of course, people can make more real estate. They certainly can, not all land is scarce. I mean, the beachfront property is, but farmland in Kansas isn't. There's plenty of land in the middle of Australia that isn't nearly as desirable as the Botanic Gardens in Sydney Harbor. So you got to choose your real estate very carefully, and you can't move it. And if I can't come to your country, I don't want it. But Bitcoin is scarce, it's desirable, it's a global thing, everybody understands it, and I can move it. I can have a $1 billion building in Manhattan, it won't move, but I can have a $1 billion Bitcoin building, and I can send it to Singapore, or I can even get a bank in Singapore to loan me money against it, or maybe want to custody it, or maybe want to borrow it at some point, or I can find a wealthy individual in any city in the world that will want to buy it from me. And you can't say the same for a piece of property in a certain place. So I see Bitcoin as digital property. It has all the great attributes of trophy real estate, but it doesn't have the liabilities and the risks of real estate because it has no physical nexus. It's immutable, immortal, indestructible, and global. And common sense says, if there's 100 billionaires and they're all bidding for your thing, the price is going up. Whereas if there's only one billionaire, that would want that thing, then they will feel like they have you over a barrel and they can give you a lowball bid because there's no other buyer. And so if you're going to own a trophy asset, you want to own something which has global appeal, and you want to be able to take it with you or move it if necessary in order to make sure the value is not impaired. That's why I think of Bitcoin as the apex property of the human race.
According to Michael Saylor, Bitcoin is hard to come by. It's attractive. It's a universal concept that everyone can grasp. And Michael Saylor say, I can transfer it. I can own a billion Manhattan's dollar building, even though it won't move. I can still send a $1 billion Bitcoin building to Singapore, or Michael Saylor may even obtain a loan against it. From a Singaporean bank might wish to keep it, or perhaps want to borrow it later, or Michael Saylor can locate. You know that I can locate a wealthy person who wants to purchase it from me in any city on the planet. And you are unable to say the similar to a piece of real estate in a certain location. Thus, Michael regard Bitcoin as digital real estate with all the wonderful characteristics of real estate trophy. If you learned something from this video, then please like this video and subscribe our channel Everyday Finance, and we will meet in next video. Thanks.